Reeves Immigration Law Group now brings you Immigration Law on Your Side.
All right, thank you for joining us. Magandang gabi mga kababayan, and welcome to another Immigration Law on Your Side right here sa PHLV Radio. I'm coming to you from Las Vegas, and in just a short while, Attorney Diza will be joining us from San Francisco, California, from Reeves Immigration Law Group. Maganda mga kaibigan na pag-uusapan natin kasi on May 27, this year, John Trasvinia, Principal Legal Advisor for ICE, that's the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, sent a memo to government attorneys enabling them to use prosecutorial discretion to dismiss pending cases in immigration courts and to refrain from placing certain persons in removal proceedings. Ano ang ibig sabihin nito? Kaya we're gonna bring in Attorney Flomy Diza from Reeves Immigration Law Group in San Francisco, California, to help us understand what exactly prosecutorial discretion is and who benefits from this memo. Magandang gabi po sa iyo, Attorney Diza, and welcome to another Immigration Law on Your Side.
Magandang gabi, Kuya Johan, at of course sa mga taga Las Vegas at sa Bay Area, and of course mga listeners and viewers natin worldwide, magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat, at maraming salamat sa patuloy niyong pagkinig at panonood sa amin dito sa PHLV Radio.
Naku, Attorney, ano nga ba po itong prosecutorial discretion na ito na pinag-uusapan natin, Attorney?
Very recent ang memo na yan na nabanggit mo, Kuya Yo, at ito hindi, it's not an old news kasi nung panahon ni President Obama, nagkaroon din tayo ng prosecutorial discretion, which simply refers to the Department of Homeland Security's authority, no, to whether or not to enforce yung immigration laws, no, to a certain individual or group of person. Nabanggit mo nga, Kuya Yo, ito yung authority ng ICE or yung immigration lawyers, whether or not to dismiss a case before the immigration court, or they will refrain from placing an individual before the immigration judge. So sa mga kababayan natin, ito hindi ho siya yung hinintay natin na comprehensive immigration reform. Hindi pa ho ito. Hindi rin ho ito legal status na sasabihin nyo, may green card na ako dahil meron ng prosecutorial discretion. Sa kapakanan ng ating mga viewers and listeners, ito yung nag-apply lamang po sa mga taong nasa removal proceedings o yung mga meron ng kaso before the immigration judge or before the immigration court. So instead of litigating or prosecuting your case by the government, na ibig sabihin i-deport kanila, you're asking them certain specific actions, either to dismiss nga the case, whether to admin close the case, whether to terminate the case, or mag-iusap ka na i-move forward or i-hear yung case mo at certain time habang hinihintay ang relief mo. Halimbawa, meron kang anak na 20 years old na at meron ka ng individual hearing, for example, gusto mong na petitionin ka na lang yung anak mo instead of filing for a cancellation of removal, which is higher standard yan, Kuya Yo, dahil you have to prove that the qualifying relative or family member would suffer extreme, exceptional, unusual hardship. So instead of pursuing yung cancellation of removal, you can ask the government attorney to move the case to a later date para mag-21 na yung anak at ma-petition na yung magulang, and that situation, wala na ganong issue sa inyong case. So ito yung mga paraan, paano magkaroon ng ma-exercise ng gobyerno ang prosecutorial discretion.
Mm-hmm. Just to put things in perspective, Attorney, in your estimate, about how many people are currently in removal proceedings?
Yes, there are more than 1.3 million, Kuya Yo.
Wow.
Nationwide dyan. And considering that there are only less than 500 immigration judges, so ang dami ng kanilang hinihir, and you could just imagine then that people in proceedings, right, wait several years dahil sa dami nila, lalo ng panahon ni President Trump, where ang enforcement priority niya ay, alam mo na, lahat ng mga overstay. Hindi lang yung mga mayroong criminal records or convictions, pero lahat ng nag-overstay ay pinaprioritize ng Trump administration. So, yun ang isa sa mga purpose actually ng prosecutorial discretion, Kuya Yo, is not to overwhelm yung ating immigration court kasi very limited ang resources nila. Hindi lang ang immigration court, kundi siyempre yung mga staff nila, yung mga government attorneys at saka mga litigants din as well. So, in that situation, as I mentioned, if you have a case now, let's say, in California, for example, and even in Las Vegas, in Nevada, you'll be placed in removal proceedings. Ang waiting time mo before you will be heard is about 2 to 5 years. May mga sitwasyon pa na umabot minsan ng almost 10 years, Kuya Yo. So you could just imagine, just because of the number of people in proceedings, immigration judges or immigration courts have no capacity to hear expeditedly ang mga cases. So it's a good idea to hold off muna ang pag-prosecute sa mga nasa immigration court para hindi naman ma-overwhelm ang ating immigration judges. So basically yun ang dahilan, Kuya Yo, just because there are many people in immigration proceedings, to make sure that immigration judges will be able to function properly and expeditiously.
In fact, recently, Attorney, mukhang nabalitaan namin in major newscasts na the government is hiring a lot of immigration judges in the country. Dahil kulang na kulang pala po, Attorney, ano?
Yes, Kuya Yo, continuous po ang nila ng immigration judges, pag-hire nila ng immigration judges, and even immigration attorneys and USCIS officers. So marami po diyan mga naghanap ng trabaho sa government. I believe there are a lot of open for the USCIS as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, nabanggit yung bahagya kanina, pero ito pang prosecutorial discretion na ito, Attorney, I'm sure it's changing from president to president to president. Just a little bit of history over the past, say, 2 or 3 presidents, simula kay President Obama siguro. Paano po nag-change ang itong prosecutorial discretion, kung paano ito ginagamit para sa ating mga mamamayan, Attorney? Maybe we can start with as far back as President Obama, Attorney.
Yes, during President Obama's term, Kuya Yo, noong 2014, he implemented na kaagad yung prosecutorial discretion. Right? In fact, meron pang, on top of that, meron pa yung DACA, if you remember. Pero yung prosecutorial discretion nung panahon ni President Obama, as early as 2014, Kuya Yo, ang mga pinaprioritize nila are people who have serious criminal conviction. Right? So, kung meron kang murder, or sexual offense, right? At saka conviction yan, Kuya Yo. Then pangalawa, ito yung mga risk to national security. Diba? So, siyempre ayaw natin yung pupunta dito para mag-terrorize sa ating bansa. So, sila ang mga pinaprioritize. At pangatlo, yung mga recent border crossers. Ibig sabihin yung mga recidivists, yung mga habitual, violators na, alam mo yon, yung ating border kasi madaling lusutan, di ba? So, and there are many people who are expeditedly removed on the refuse yung admission. Let's say ngayon, then kinabukasan nandito na naman sila.
Pabalik-balik.
So, balik-balik. So, yun tinatawag nating repeat offenders. So, yun yung mga priority yung panahon ni President Obama. So, basically, very, very, very few people. Although, if you look at the statistics, Kuya Yo, there was a time na even President Obama was very friendly sa immigration community and provided friendly immigration relief sa ating mga immigrants. Sinasabi pa rin nila na siya yung isa sa pinakamadaming na i-deport nung panahon niya, which may or may not be true dahil mabilis din sila maghuli at that point, lalong-lalo na yung mga criminal conviction. Pero marami ring nakinabang, Kuya Yo. In fact, I was already a practicing lawyer during his time, and we have many clients whom we requested for prosecutorial discretion. Ibig sabihin, nasa court na sila, and may mga relief, Kuya Yo, lalong na mga Pilipino, di ba, na nag-file ng applications at na-denied, lalong-lalo na sa ating mga Pilipino. May mga kamag-anak po tayo dito sa US na alimbawa may magulang po kayong nag-petition at isa sa pinakamatagal ang waiting time ng Pilipinas, di ba? 20 years. So at that point, for example, 15 years na saka sila, pinetition sila ng magulang, right? As a married person at nagitan ng 20 years, and yung ika-15 years yung petition ay na-aresto yung applicant o yung Pilipino, and they were placed in removal proceedings. At that point, Kuya Yo, we requested to close the case kasi malapit na yung priority date, kasabihin mo na, 5 taon pa yan, pwede ba i-close na natin, hintayin na lang natin yung priority date. So that's one classic example ng ating request ng paano ni President Obama. Or yung nabanggit ko sa iyo kanina where mayroon kang 15 years old na anak at at you came here legally, nag-overstay lang po kayo and bago siyempre hinihintay na mag-21 yung bata para pumapetisyon ang magulang. At that point, pwede rin i-request ang prosecutorial discretion. And even a simple case, Kuya Yo, where walang relief yung ating mga kliyente o ating mga kababayan, pwede pa rin mag-request yan noong panahon niya para lang you get out of the immigration court. Diba? So, ang kinaganda yan, Kuya Yo, lalong-lalo na kung wala kang relief or mahina yung relief mo, yung application mo. Ayaw natin na magkaroon ng judgment, right, ng order ng immigration judge saying na dinideny kita yung relief mo, right, and I will order you removed to your home country in the Philippines. So if that's the situation, right, and you don't do anything on that order, nagkakaroon na ng what do you call this, ng immigration order or immigration removal order na para kang convicted felon, right, na hinahanap ng gobyerno. So in that situation, high priority ka rin kasi you're not following the order ng immigration judge. So in that situation, mas mahirap yung ganon, di ba? So instead of you having that final removal order, i-close na lang muna natin yung case mo and we'll wait for number 1, magkaroon ng immigration reform, number 2, maging available yung priority date mo, number 3, or mag-21 yung anak mo, or magkaroon ka ng asawa na US citizen. So, it's really very helpful, Kuya Yo. At this time, may mga clients pa tayo na naka-close yung case habang hinihintay yung priority ng magulang or hinihintay yung anak na mag-21. So, that was during President Obama's time.
How did this change, Attorney, during President Trump's tenure from 2016, 2017? How did this come about?
It's unfortunate, Kuya Yo, that President Trump's policy is different from Obama, where priority niya is anyone who overstayed the visa. So hindi lang yung risk to national security or overstay or rather have a serious criminal conviction, but primarily, Kuya Yo, anyone who overstayed the visa. Diba? In fact, there was also an expedited removal for people who are here less than 2 years. Diba? So basta maaresto ka, within 100 kilometers ng border and you're here less than 2 years, they can expeditedly remove you. That's why sa mga discussion natin, Kuya, dito sa PHLV radio ng panahon ni Trump was know your rights. Diba? If you remember that, we discussed that many times para malaman ng ating kababayan kung anong rights nila if and when ICE would confront them and ask their immigration status. So that was the priority, and in fact there were situations, Kuya Yo, where cases during Obama's time that were closed, in the exercise of prosecutorial discretion, and ni-reopen ni President Trump during his term, meaning binalik sa court just because either that person committed a crime, or was arrested a certain violation. So may mga sitwasyon na ganyan. So that was how it worked during President Trump, Kuya Yo. At hopefully, yung mga na-reopen during his time, ma-arrest during this time, if they have a very good and sympathetic case, we were able to request for prosecutorial discretion either to dismiss the case or terminate the case.
With the new administration, Attorney, President Biden, did he restore prosecutorial discretion?
Yes, Kuya Yo, that's the purpose of the memo that was sent to all the government attorneys recently in May 27, meaning that they were advised to look at their cases and coordinate with the private lawyers ng mga applicants or directly to the applicant themselves and see if these are good reason to exercise prosecutorial discretion. So yun yung bagong policy ni Obama, Kuya Yo. If I may share dun sa ating mga viewers, kung nandito pa yung ating let me see kung nandito, mukhang nawala, Kuya Yo, but let me see. The factors that they consider, essentially, is that tinitingnan muna yung case, tinitingnan muna yung case nung applicant or people in removal proceedings. So unang-una, syempre titingnan nila kung may family ties yung applicant, meaning nandito na yung magulang, nandito ang anak, nandito ang mga kapatid, may mga anak din. So strong family ties is a good reason. And of course, yung work and education history ng applicant. So in other words, you came here when you're very young age, you went to school here, up to probably college, and despite the fact na wala po kayong status, nagpursige po kayong makatapos. That's a very good reason as well, di ba? Natapos yung course nyo at nagtrabaho po kayo and you contributed and paying taxes sa gobyerno. And then also tinitingnan din yung military service, Kuya Yo. And, if one of your family members or the applicant himself or herself is a member of the military, then that's also being considered. And also yung prior immigration history, ano bang history po ninyo? Yung nabanggit natin kanina, kayo po ba ay repeat offenders? Kayo po ba ay may mga fraud sa inyong mga applications previously? Gumamit ba kayo ng fake na social security? Gumamit ba kayo ng fake na green card para makapagtrabaho? Gumamit ba kayo ng ibang pangalan para makapasok sa US? And after you committed those violations, anong actions ang ginawa nyo? Did you continue to use these fraudulent documents, or it's just a one-time use? So lahat po yan ina-assess, Kuya Yo, to make sure that this person in proceedings, in removal proceedings, is deserving the exercise of prosecutorial discretion.
Or maybe the contributions of that person in the community. Maybe he's engaged into something that helps the community, an attorney.
Yes, Kuya Yo. In fact, I encourage mga kababayan natin that yung free time nila, if they have children, or even if they don't have children, they have to volunteer, sa mga activities, extracurricular activities, or mga civic activities like feeding the homeless, right? Minsan yung mga nagka-traffic ka dun sa school para sa mga dumadaan na bata, and yung mga nagre-rescue ng mga dogs, or alam mo yan, mga animals. So there are many things. Or mismo sa simbahan mismo, Kuya Yo, right? Mag-volunteer po kayo sa pag ng communion or paglinis sa simbahan. Those are very big factors that make sure that you are deserving to stay in the United States. So those are fully documented naman, di ba? Kasi meron kang either membership or participation na pwede mong ipakita sa government attorney or sa inyong abogado para ma-close or ma-terminate po ang inyong kaso.
Or those things that you're doing, it's on your Facebook.
Yes, that's also, it's a public knowledge, Kuya Yo, right? Mag-create ka ng event, for example, and invite people to help the victims of a particular, victims ng disaster. Halimbawa, kahit sa Pilipinas yung mga biktima, pwede rin, di ba? O dito sa atin, yung mga nasunugan o yung mga nabaha. There are many ways actually to show your volunteer and participation in the community.
It looks like malaking benepisyo ito sa mga apektado na ito. Attorney, we'll head over to a break. We'll remind our viewers and listeners on how to contact Reeves Immigration Law Group. But when we come back, Attorney, ang gusto natin malaman is paano po ba mag-apply, or what is the procedure in applying for prosecutorial discretion? Mga kaibigan, sa pagbabalik po ng immigration law on your side dito po sa PHLV Radio, nakasama na natin si Attorney Diza from San Francisco, California. Diyan lamang po kayo.
Reeves Immigration Law Group has been representing immigrants for nearly 40 years. Reeves Immigration Law Group has been fighting for its clients through experience and expertise. With immigration lawyers you can access at reasonable fees, even on Saturday. Payment plans are also available. Call us for your immigration solutions. We can do worldwide telephone and Skype consultations. Reeves Immigration Law Group, 1-800-795-8009. Reeves Immigration Law Group has offices in Los Angeles, San Francisco, China, and Philippines. See us at www.rreeves.com. Reeves Immigration Law Group, 1-800-795-8009.
All right, maraming salamat for joining us tonight right here at PHLV Radio. You're tuned in to Immigration Law on Your Side. We're here every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Pacific, right here at PHLV Radio. We're based here in Las Vegas, and Attorney Diza is based in San Francisco, California, from Reeves Immigration Law Group sa San Francisco. And www.rreeves.com. Yan po mga kaibigan ng kanilang website. Just head over to the website for more information. Attorney, balikan natin itong pinag-uusapan natin yon, itong prosecutorial discretion, and it looks like magandang benepisyo nga ito para sa lahat na makakapag-avail ito at lahat ng apektado nito. Attorney, how do you apply? What is the procedure in applying for prosecutorial discretion?
First and foremost, Kuya, the applicant or his attorney should reach out to the government attorney, right? Hindi directly sa immigration judge yan. So you have to reach out and request one and attach a documents showing that you are deserving that prosecutorial discretion. Yung nabanggit natin kanina, right, that this person was entered the United States on this date and time, like let's say in 2000, it's more than 20 years, right? That's the length of residency in the U.S. And since he entered the United States, he obtained a valid Social Security. At that time, madali pa ang pagkuha ng Social Security, Kuya Yo, and he immediately looked for a job and was able to file taxes. For the last 15 years, he has been religiously paying taxes. Ito yung lista ng mga taxes o yung mga Social Security earning statement showing that from year 2005, for example, to present, the applicant was paying taxes. He also has a family, a father who is, for example, who was a Filipino World War veteran, right, a U.S. citizen, but unfortunately passed away before, he petitioned the family. He also volunteered to the community. So that basically, Kuya, you are pleading and asking and presenting your case before the government attorney why they should exercise prosecutorial discretion. Kasi ang judge niyan, Kuya, if the government attorney joins, yung inyong abogado, yung counsel, to either dismiss the case, to exercise prosecutorial discretion, then that's a very good sign, diba? Walang magagawa ang judge kundi i-either terminate yung case. So pag once the government attorney agrees, then you request the judge to either admin close the case, right, or dismiss the case rather, right, para mawala na po kayo sa immigration judge. Wala na kayo sa radar ng immigration judge, mawala na kayo sa stress na darating yung araw na magte-testify po kayo sa court, for half day, and present your case, and especially if your case is very weak, right, then you get that order of removal as we mentioned, right? Kasi pag magkaroon kayo ng order of removal, yun po ang pinakamatakot dahil you are already, at the end of the rope. You don't have any other relief anymore. And if the judge ordered you remove, you have options to either go home. Okay, kung ayaw mong umuwi, you can also appeal the case, right, before the Board of Immigration Appeals and to the circuit courts where you reside, but that will cost you money. And once you appeal the case, Kuya Yo, syempre, I always tell my client that, usually pag nasa appeal level tayo, the justices will usually agree sa what the decision ng immigration judge. There is also a probability na pwede siguro i-overturn ang decision ng judge, but most of the time, right, i-affirm nila ang decision ng judges sa immigration courts. So yun po ang effect, Kuya, yun po ang procedure, Kuya Yo, is to request the government attorney to join your counsel to a request for prosecutorial discretion.
Needless to say, you have to have an attorney, mga kababayan, di ba?
That's correct, Kuya Yo, just because you have to present a very compelling, reason why the government should exercise prosecutorial discretion.
Now, if you have a strong case, attorney, what happens?
For example, if you're now married to a citizen, you have children, right? While you're in proceedings, you marry someone else and you get an approved I-130. I don't recommend that you request for prosecutorial discretion kasi madidelay lang yung pagkuha mo ng green card. As we mentioned kanina, sa mga kababayan natin, this prosecutorial discretion is not a green card. It's not an immigration relief. Well, it's kind of relief in the sense that you are out from the immigration court, mawawala po kayo ng removal case or cases. And also it's not a reform, it's not a comprehensive immigration reform, or it's not even a status. So if you have a very good case and a strong case, right, in order for you to become a green card holder, don't request for prosecutorial discretion, but instead, you pursue your relief, right? I'm getting my green card through my spouse dahil may anak naman kami, na-approve na yung I-130 petition ko, so it's just a matter of time, waiting the time, for your individual hearing before the judge para mabigyan ka na ng judge ng inyong green card. So ganun yun, Kuya Yo. Only for this prosecutorial discretion is only very helpful sa mga kababayan natin nasa immigration court na either mahina ang kaso, walang relief, o naghihintay ng relief. Meaning, halimbawa, yung nabanggit natin kanina na pinetition ng tatay at alam mo ang processing time even for unmarried children is 8 years, di ba, from the Philippines. But instead of waiting that much time na ontete ng 8 years, hindi ko na mahintay yung 8 years, magkaroon ka ng removal order, we request the judge na, Judge, pwede bang i-dismiss mo muna yung kaso dahil wala pa yung aking priority date, hindi pa current yung priority date ko. So yun yung advice natin sa ating mga kababayan that, if you think, or your attorney or your lawyer or counsel think that you have a very good case before the immigration judge, then prosecutorial discretion may not be a good relief for you.
Attorney, what happens to the client or to the person who applied for this if the government agrees na they will exercise prosecutorial discretion dahil dito sa present mong mga na kaso, will their case be terminated or anong mangyayari po, attorney?
Yes, nung panahon ni Obama, Kuya Yo, admin close ang tawag nila dyan. So we exercise prosecutorial discretion and we close your case, right? Administrative closure. Ibig sabihin nun, Kuya Yo, wala kang future hearing dates. But you still have a case before the immigration. Just close lang nila yon at tinabi. Diba? So hindi ka nila gagalawin, wala kang hearing. And the good thing about the administrative closure, Kuya Yo, is that you're able to renew your work permit. So for example, mayroon kang pending case sa immigration judge, based on asylum, for example, or based on adjustment of status na dinay lang ng service dahil hindi nila in-approve yung waiver mo at naghiwalay na kayo ng asawa mo at wala ka ng relief ngayon, but you have a pending adjustment. The good thing about the administrative closure is if the closure case, the applicant is able to renew work authorization for 1 or 2 years. Yun ang advantage. Now, there's also a possibility that they will terminate the case, meaning tatanggalin na nila yung case mo sa judge. Wala ka na. Babalik ka sa dati. Diba, status ko or dating situation mo where before you got arrested and placed in removal proceedings. So, ibig sabihin nun, wala ka pa rin status. Hindi ka lang nga nila pina-priority na i-deport. Yun lang yung disadvantage nun dahil once your case is terminated, hindi mo na rin ma-renew yung work permit mo dahil wala ka ng pending pending case kagaya ng admin close na close lang pero nandun pa rin yung case mo. Pending pa rin yung immigration case mo. So that's the second scenario is they will agree to terminate the case. The third option, Kuya Yo, is the government will agree to dismiss the case. Ganun din yung effect nun, mawawala ka sa immigration court. Parang sa criminal case or sa civil case where if you dismiss the case, wala nang kaso, wala ka ng mga future hearing dates, wala ka ng fear of being removed at the moment. But of course, it won't prevent the government, kung another Trump ang ma-elect in the future at babalik ulit ang enforcement priority sa mga walang papel, then of course that nandun pa rin ulit yung fear mo to be deported. So yun yung third scenario, i-dismiss yung kaso. Pang-apat, Kuya Yo, would be ask the government to be lenient dun sa request mo, like yung sinasabi natin continuance. Pwede mong sabihin na ang hearing mo na, individual hearing mo, for example, nakapaghintay ka na ng 5 taon, nandyan na yung hearing mo. Pero hiwalay ka na sa asawa, so wala ka ng other option, di ba? Or hindi pa 21 yung anak mo, nandyan na yung hearing mo, so anong gagawin mo? So either you can ask the government counsel that pwede ba nating i-reschedule to kapag 21 na yung bata para makapag-apply na siyang green card yung aking client. So that's also a possible scenario in exercising prosecutorial discretion, Kuya Yo. Or probably place the case on status docket, not necessarily terminate or dismiss or close the case, but place the case on status docket. I-set mo siya ng matagal, di ba? Habang hinihintay mo yung approval ng kaso or priority date ng petition ng magulang or mag-21 yung bata. So pwede sabihin na pwede ba ang next hearing natin gawin natin 2025 kasi in 2025 doon mag-21 yung anak ko or doon magiging available yung priority date ko. So those are the ways, Kuya Yo, that your counsel or being an applicant would request the government attorney to join you in exercising prosecutorial discretion in order for your case before the immigration judge to be either admin closed, terminated, dismissed, continued. So yun yung paraan, Kuya Yo. And as I mentioned sa mga kababayan natin, this is not new. We have been doing this since the time of President Obama. We did try during President Trump, but it didn't work. So hopefully during this Biden administration, there's already that memo that says ito yung factors, and I believe there are many applicants na makikinabang sa programa or memorandum ng Pangulong Biden.
Nabanggit niyo, Attorney, na if it's admin closed or terminated or dismissed, will they be eligible to get a green card in the future?
If there's pending application before the immigration judge, for example, we mentioned you have an asylum case that's very weak kasi wala kang other option kundi mag-file of some relief, di ba? At eligible na po kayong, nakakuha na po kayo dati ng work authorization, the answer is yes if your case was admin closed. Or, for example, meron po kayong adjustment of status pending, right? At na-close yung case ninyo, then you can continue to renew your work authorization. In fact, ito yung mga clients natin noong panahon ni Obama, Kuya Yo, until now, we continue to renew their work authorization for a year or for 2 years, depende sa klase ng application. But if the case is dismissed or terminated, unfortunately, hindi mo marirenew kasi wala ka ng pending application, Kuya Yo. Ang work authorization comes in only if you have an underlying application, kagaya ng asylum, kagaya ng adjustment of status, kagaya ng U visa pending, kagaya ng badged spouse petition pending, or any kind of underlying petition that you're entitled to apply for work authorization. So again, reminding sa mga kababayan natin that even if this is a very promising, right, and helpful memorandum and relief, it's a good idea to discuss with your attorney para malaman din ninyo kung ano yung best result ninyo. Kasi as I mentioned, kung i-dismiss mo yung kaso at mawawalan ka ng work permit and you're working in a big, company or big hospital, paano ka makapagtrabaho, So it's really a good idea sa ating mga kababayan that before you act on the prosecutorial discretion to consult an immigration attorney to discuss the consequence of your request before the government attorney.
And speaking with consulting with attorneys, Attorney Diza, kumusta po kayo dyan sa San Francisco ngayon? Dito sa Las Vegas ay buhay na at kumusta po ang San Francisco ngayon?
Well, good news, Kuya Yo. In fact, today, this is a historic day for us. It's June 16. It's the full reopening ng, I think, California as well, and also our office. So we all now require our staff that we are reporting to office every day na. There might be some people who are working from home as well, but for now, we are here and we are ready to meet our clients. Although, as of now, Kuya Yo, we still require our staff to wear a mask and kind of, kahit yung iba under CDC guidelines and Governor Newsom, I think he mentioned that you can take off the mask if all people are vaccinated, right? But the office still, exercise extra precaution by wearing our masks on the common areas, kagaya ng lobby and conference rooms and kitchen, just to avoid, itong variant na to or infections. Nonetheless, we would like to inform our listeners and viewers that we now allow our clients to come to the office, right? It's not as the same as before the pandemic where kahit buong barangay pwede yung dagyan pag ito
si Lolo, si Lola, lahat din.
Kamag-ayo yung kapitbahay, yung kaibigan, katrabaho. Minsan, you can't avoid, lalo na kung mga Pilipino na nagkumpul-kumpul dyan or may pupuntahan din, sumasama sila lahat. And, but now we only allow at least 1 or 2 kung mag-asawa, dalawa, di ba? Or one that's affected. Yun lang po ang ina-allow namin ngayon, just of course to prevent and see how it goes dito sa full reopening natin. And hopefully not only in California but all other states are following the same, and also sa ating mahal na inang bayan sa Pilipinas, and hopefully you guys are also recovering at bababa na ang infection, because i-segue ko na rin yan, Kuya Yo, ang embassy ngayon ay marami pa rin nagtatanong sa atin dahil yung mga kababayan natin na naghihintay ng interview during the pandemic, they're supposed to get the interview already pero na-postpone yan or na-cancel because of the quarantine. Reminded lang na may mga sitwasyon, maraming sitwasyon where when you look at your status of your case, terminated na yung visa ninyo, right? Or sinasabi nila wala na yung visa ninyo because you didn't act within 1 year. So don't be scared, right? Either you write a letter to the embassy telling them the situation, just because I think, Kuya Yo, the embassy has this system, nag-automatic siguro na walang action within 1 year, sinasabing, na-terminate na yung petition. So don't worry about that. Either write a letter to the embassy or consult us, because we have also an office in Makati that would assist our clients to call the embassy or, coordinate with the embassy to reinstate or reopen your applications.
Dahan-dahang nanunumbalik sa normal, mga kababayan. Pero ang ating mga clients, attorney, if our friends and our kababayans would like to reach out to you, can they still do that via Zoom with you guys?
Yes, we always recommend Zoom just because it's very convenient. You don't have to go to the traffic and ride the public transportation, right, and pay the expensive parking fees, right? So in traffic, so it's really a good idea to do Zoom. That's what we are doing right now. It's very convenient. In fact, we still offer free consultation, so you have the opportunity to speak with one of our immigration lawyers who are all specialists in immigration and nationality law.
All right. So mga kaibigan, www.rreeves.com, that's where you go para makuha ang mga ibang information about Reeves Immigration Law Group. Attorney, at this point, I'll give you the floor to address our audience if there will be other announcements that you'd like to give out to the public.
Maraming salamat, Kuya, unang-una sa lahat at sa PHLV Radio and of course viewers and listeners natin. It has been 15 months, right, that we were working at home, quarantine, stay at home. And finally, we are here, at least in the US, right, that we are reopening. Hopefully, our wish is not only the United States. In fact, President Biden also contributed 5 million, I think, Pfizer, right, sa mga other countries. So hopefully, meron tayo sa Pilipinas at balik na tayo sa normal, because essentially ang role naman natin dito, Kuya, is family reunification, to be united with your family dito sa US, and we keep doing that even during the pandemic and during this time of reopening. Take advantage po natin to process these cases, and hopefully we can see that USCIS now are calling interviews and hopefully going back to normal, as Kuya was mentioning. Babalik na po tayo sa normal. Marami pong salamat ulit, at yung mga kamag-anak po ninyo o mga kaibigan who are in proceedings, share po ninyo yung aming discussion with Kuya Yo. This will be very, very helpful po sa kanila. Maraming salamat ulit at magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat.
Nako, maraming salamat, attorney, and can't wait to have you here again in Las Vegas para po naman sa ating immigration law on your side. Namimiss ka na namin dito, but again pa man, tuloy-tuloy ang ating pagbibigay ng serbisyo publiko sa ating mga kababayan, hindi lang dito sa Amerika kundi worldwide. Mangyari pong balikan lamang iba pang mga episodes ng Immigration Law on Your Side on our platforms, nandyan sa Facebook, YouTube. We even have the podcast version on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts para po naman sa mga iba pang mga information about sa immigration. So in the meantime, Attorney, maraming salamat and give our regards to everyone out there in San Francisco. From Las Vegas, ito po si Kuya Yo sa PHLV Radio Las Vegas. Nagbibigay pong pugay sa lahat at we just celebrated our 123rd Independence Day here in Las Vegas. We had a motorcade and I'm sure nakita ko rin ang marami mga events dyan sa San Francisco. Mabuhay po tayong lahat. Ito po si Kuya Yo dito po sa PHLV Radio sa Las Vegas. We will see you next time.
Reeves Immigration Law Group has just brought you Immigration Law on Your Side. Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Pacific on PHLV Radio.